In our past few videos, we learned about some basics of lines. Now we want to be able to come up with equations for lines that satisfy certain conditions. In this video, we'll be talking about the point-slope form of a line, which is one of the easiest ways to write down the equation of a line. As long as we know a point on the line and the slope of the line, we'll be able to write its equation. Let's say that we have a line that goes through the point x1, y1. And let's say the line has slope m. If we know those two bits of information, then we can write down the equation of the line in point-slope form using the formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Let's take a look at some examples to get a sense of how we use this formula. In example A, we want to write down the equation of the line that goes through the point 1, 5 with slope m equals 2/3. Since we know both the point and the slope of the line, we can directly plug in the appropriate values into our point-slope form. The x-coordinate 1 is what we plug in for x1, the y-coordinate 5 is what we plug in for y1, and the slope 2/3 is what we plug in for m. So plugging those appropriate values in, we get the equation y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 times x minus 1. And that's the equation of our line. For example B, we have a line that goes through 2 points, -2, 3, and 1, -9. This time, we're not given the slope of our line. However, since we're given 2 points, we can use the slope formula to help us figure out what the slope of the line is. From our previous video, we learned that the slope can be calculated by using y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. We'll use -2, 3 as our first point and 1, -9 as our second point. So plugging those numbers into our slope formula, we get that the slope is equal to -9 minus 3 divided by 1 minus -2. In the numerator, -9 minus 3 gives us -12. In the denominator, 1 minus -2 gives us +3. And we can simplify this. -12 divided by 3 gives us -4. So now we have everything that we need to write down the equation of a line. Remember, we need a point and a slope. For our point, we can use either of our points, -2, 3 or 1, -9. Either one will be fine. Our slope will be using m equals -4. So here for x1 we'll be plugging in -2, for y1 we'll be plugging in 3, and then for the slope we'll plug in -4. So the equation of our line is y minus 3 is equal to -4 times x minus -2. We can simplify this double negative and rewrite our equation as y minus 3 equals -4 times x plus 2. And that's the equation of our line in point-slope form. In our last example, we have a line that goes through the point 3, -1 with x-intercept 5, 0. Even though this problem is phrased a little bit differently than our previous example, it's essentially the same. We are given 2 points on our line, and we want to figure out the equation of the line. Now, in general, we need a point and a slope to write down the equation. We're given 2 points, so if we want to find the slope, we need to use the slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Using 3, -1 as our first point and 5, 0 as our second point, our slope looks like 0 minus -1 divided by 5 minus 3, which simplifies to 1 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator. So in this problem, our slope is 1/2. Now all we have to do is plug in the appropriate values into our point-slope form. Again, in this problem, we have 2 points, so you can use either of those points as your x1, y1. So let's use 3, -1 as our point. And the slope, again, is 1/2. So we'll be plugging in 3 for x1 -1 for y1 and 1/2 for m. So our equation is y minus -1 equals 1/2 times x minus 3. The double negatives here can be rewritten as y plus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 3. And that's all we have to do. This is the point-slope form for the equation of our line. So in this video, we learned how to write down the equation of a line in point-slope form. And all we need is a point that's on our line and the slope of the line. In our next video, we'll talk about another way to write down the equation of a line. We'll talk about the slope-intercept form.